Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I'm oh so excited to hear what you guys have to say about the situation surrounding our New York Jets, the state of the team, and our quarterback, and what we do going forward. We just heard from Robert Saleh. He's not non-committal towards Zach Wilson starting this week. Now, we're going to run this the same way we do every week. I'm going to start phone calls at 8:30. I'm going to give you my thoughts till then. We'll talk to the chat a little bit, and I'll give you my thoughts after having like a day to digest everything here. I do have a poll in the live chat if you want to get in on that. Who should start versus the Bears? Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, Chris Streveler. That is the poll question. Tonight's topics, nice and simple. You can give me some thoughts on yesterday's game, but I don't think there was a whole lot of actual action in the game, so I think we'll talk about like the main big subjects here. Who should start at quarterback versus the Bears? Who is the starter in 2023? So when you call in, those are going to be the two topic questions that I'd like to discuss. Try to keep this on track a little bit here. We'll go till 10 o'clock. You get 3 minutes on the clock, and after 3 minutes...
You're out of here!
Love that chicken. All right. Who we got in the chat? I see Tommy P, Mo, Joe S, Lucas, Twisted, Squirmy, Jalen, John Alexander over on Facebook. What's up, dude? All right. If you're just hopping in, make sure you hit that like button. Have a few things to talk about. We heard some not so great comments from Zach Wilson after the game. Definitely left a little bit to be desired. It's, you know, the way he answered the questions, I'm not sure he meant it maliciously. I think this is more a, you know, just a, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to call him privileged, but like if it feels like he hasn't had to go through much adversity. And like quarterbacks should know how to answer these types of questions, especially when you have 9 completions. And we had 10 punts. 9 completions, 10 punts. Come on. This is the NFL, 2023. You got to be able to score points. I understand the weather conditions were not ideal, but your adversary from your draft class on the other side of the field had 22 or 23 completions. We have the guys. I think what got me fired up the most, and yesterday I was probably a little too aggressive towards Mike LaFleur. I was looking at a lot of the plays today, or I shouldn't say a lot of plays. I was looking at a few key plays throughout yesterday. A lot of them posted by Michael Nania. Head over to his Twitter. He's got some great stuff. But over on his page, he has a few plays. There's one where Denzel Mims is literally running wide open in the center of the field. Zach's looking at him. He's running in for what would be a touchdown. And I think it's the play where Zach runs for like 6 yards on the left-hand side. I think that was the play it was. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Gonna move this up into this corner over here. Where does my little 3 pop up? Somewhere right here, right? Yeah. Let's go. We'll do that. All right. So you guys see the topic questions. Answer the poll question. So where was I? We were talking about Zach Wilson, the completions, or lack thereof, and then the answering questions afterwards. And then hearing from other guys, like the body language on the field from the staff, from the players. Everyone knew it. The fans sitting in the stands, the fans sitting at home. Watch that final drive, 2 minutes left. You hid your quarterback. That's what it was. You were afraid to let him make the critical mistake. And we saw the one pass, out to the right-hand side, which leads me to believe they were doing the right thing by trying to hide him. It just sucks because that's not a way to win in the NFL. Brian drops in. Brian says, Zach Wilson throws an interception. Boos drowned the stadium as the crowd quiets. Wild Thing starts to play, and Mark Sanchez walks out of the tunnel, Major League style, eating a hot dog to thunderous applause. There's no way I would have thought that Zach Wilson would be the worst quarterback that we've drafted in the last 15 years, aside from Hackenberg, because Hackenberg didn't play. Like Geno, Darnold, Sanchez, all better. Just brutal. The guy's got so much talent. Like I stand by the fact that I think he's the most physically gifted quarterback that we've had. But there is part of me that's like, man, I wonder what this team could have looked like with Sam. It's frustrating, right? I still think it's the right move. I think it was the right move to take a quarterback and to draft, whether it be draft Zach or draft someone else. But it was the right move to move on from Sam Darnold when we did. But, always thinking about that. Imagine if we had Geno right now. Geno's balling out over in Seattle. Everaldo says, if Zach starts, he's getting booed on Sunday. If he starts, which I think he will, I do believe he starts this Sunday versus the Bears. I think the fans won't boo him until the first incompletion. And if the first pass is not a completion, you'll hear the boos. If he throws one in the dirt, if he throws one like aggressively high, you'll start to hear it. It's going to come through. It'll be audible on the television, and it's going to get to his head. It's going to get to him. And by halftime, if he's not performing well against the 30th ranked defense or whatever the Bears are right now. And remember, they had their key defenders up until like 3 weeks ago. They've traded them all away. And then Justin Fields may not even play. Like, this is what sucks. Like, what if we win next week and it's like Zach has another 100-yard game and like 15 completions or 12 completions? Like, what happens? I'm not going to feel better about the quarterback situation. And it's like, okay, is it swept under the rug because we won and they just hope like everyone forgets? Like, as much as I give some credit to Zach for how he played against Buffalo versus how he played against game one of the Patriots, his accomplishment for the Bills game was not making a mistake or not making critical mistakes. Like, that shouldn't be the threshold of a franchise quarterback. It's an important trait to have, don't get me wrong. But, like, you got to do something in the air, dude. Got to do something in the air. And I think if he throws one in the dirt, throws one high, he's going to get booed. Mr. Downtown, if Elijah kept quiet, he would have came out right. Look, I think the fan base, by and large, outside of maybe just a small percentage of fans, I think a lot of us are more on Elijah Moore's side at this point. I don't like the way he handled it. And I think, there's some immaturity there for sure. And there's some I don't want to say a pattern of behavior, but there was some stuff at Ole Miss. I didn't like the celebration that cost his team the game. I didn't like, the throwing of the helmet and the AVT thing that we saw when all the trade stuff came out. There was some video of him throwing his helmet on the sideline, like I think it was last year. So there's some stuff there. And I think there was probably something brewing for a while. And it sounds like because, let's face it, Denzel Mims wanted a trade. He wasn't going to see the field. But Garrett Wilson mentioned Joe Flacco's arm and how it's nice not trying to catch a pass that's going 100 miles an hour all the time. And then you see all the Elijah Moore stuff. And then like we start seeing more and more of the Zach stuff. Like I can go back and look at those games and say, okay, look, they were clearly won by Brees, clearly won by our defense. But Zach missed 7 weeks. And you got to give him time. And I think the time was this 3-game stretch. It's the division. It's Patriots, Bills, bye, Patriots. You had 2 weeks to prepare. Came out flat. But Elijah Moore, I would say most people are probably on his side at this point. Joe S. says, Breece Hall was the biggest loss this year. Yeah, him going down even... at the time, I would have said AVT was the bigger loss, but I think it's pretty clear the offense can't get going right now. But I'm not sure if that would be the same with. I'm not sure if that would be any different with Brees. Like I think teams are still going to sell out against the run, and I guess there's a higher percentage chance that he breaks a tackle or is a step faster than someone. But this team is just rough. If your quarterback can't throw, the entire defense knows what's coming. It's ugly. Blitzguru says Zach equals modern day Ryan Leaf. I mean, you got to consider it. It sucks because he doesn't seem like a bad kid. Like it's not like he's into drugs or drinking and like he's like an off the field problem. He really hasn't been. It's been all on the field, aside from maybe the banging moms thing. But is he a modern day Ryan Leaf? What sucks is I saw a stat of like the first 20 games from Jamarcus Russell on the first 20 games from Zach Wilson, and they are like stupid close. It's really like gut wrenching. And when you have a 20 game sample size, granted, the entire sample size from last year is slightly tainted because, the offensive line was still rough. We were still getting healthy. There was a lot of injuries. We didn't have a defense. There's a lot of things that went into last year's evaluation. So I feel like this is a clear evaluation year, but it feels like we're regressing. It doesn't seem like we're getting the, the full thing from Zach right now. Lloyd, Rich Eisen looked up the numbers. Zachary's career and stats are mirroring Jamarcus Russell. Jesus, take the wheel. So I didn't even see Rich Eisen's thing. I saw that he posted something. I really got to go back and watch it. I really like Rich Eisen a lot. He's probably my favorite Jet fan, like celebrity dude. But yeah, Jamarcus Russell. I mean, I don't want to put Jamarcus Russell and Zach Wilson in the same conversation as far as like personalities, because they gave Jamarcus Russell a blank DVD to have him watch tape, and they asked him, "What did you think of the game tape?" And he goes, "I think we got this. It's gonna be good." It was blank. He had no idea. I don't think Zach's that lackadaisical. I think he is still a student of the game. I mean, he got his receivers together in the offseason. Like he does a lot of things right. It's just the whole football thing's a little bit hard for him. Blitzkrieg says, Zach's role model, Aaron Rodgers, makes you think. Yeah, it's one that I did look into, and I looked at the contract, and I don't know how they make it work, because if Aaron Rodgers is traded, it would be like a $75 million cap hit for the Packers, and it would be just an enormous amount of money to just eat. He had an enormous signing bonus. So his contract this year and next year, I think he's only getting paid like on the books if traded like $1 million next year. So it's stupid cheap. But the issue is his signing bonus is so big, the dead cap hit in 1 year for them would just obliterate their roster. They'd have to get rid of everyone. So unless there's like maybe a renegotiation or there's some way to stretch out the signing bonus, or I don't know. I feel like the Packers are kind of stuck with Rodgers, and I don't know how much I want Rodgers. It's interesting because I do think our team is really good, and I think we're a quarterback away. It depends what it would cost to get him, I think. That's where I'm at. The money I'm not as concerned about, because if you're going all in, as long as he's committed for 3 years or 2 years even, I could live with that. There's going to be a lot of conversations about a lot of different players coming up. Knobcraft. Sunday will be Zach Wilson's funeral at MetLife. He's getting booed the second he takes the first snap, and there's nothing that's going to stop it from happening. Manziel 2.0 will be gone forever. I don't think of him as Manziel. Manziel was definitely an off-the-field nightmare, but I do think he's absolutely going to get booed. He's going to have a rough game. I don't have confidence based on anything that I've seen this year outside of the fourth quarter of the Steelers game that he's going to be able to turn it around. He's last in like every statistical category. He's just not throwing to open wide receivers. I do think he's going to get booed. I don't think it's going to be at the first snap. It's going to be at the first incompletion, which may be the first snap. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long day, though. Definitely a long day. Joe S. says, if Zach is a bust, does JD take a hit for it? Yeah, I mean, you can ding him for it, but I think his resume speaks for itself. And you look at all the players that he has drafted, and he has more hits than not, and I think he has a higher percentage of hits than other GMs. You look at his waiver wire pickups, his trades, his free agent acquisitions, and you weigh everything together. And I think this coaching staff, based on the way that other quarterbacks have performed under it, like Mike White, Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, both those guys in the Senior Bowl. Those quarterbacks were able to produce in this system like over 300 yards. I think this is the quarterback's issue, and in a year that was, maybe adjusted because of COVID and everything going on, I can understand why the evaluation process was so weird. And there's a lot of guys that had opted out that made the grading process a little more stressful, like Trey Lance. He only played one game his final year in college. Zach Wilson is coming from not a huge school in BYU, not one of like the SEC teams. So I think there's, you go all in for the athletic upside and it bit you in the butt. But I'm not burnt up about it because it's not like we traded up to get him. We used our original pick. And as much as it really burns to lose the number 2 overall pick, it's a little less egregious in my mind, I think, because you're losing one pick versus like a haul of picks. Stifler's mom says, we should check out Kyler's situation in Arizona. I think the Cardinals would be interested. Kyler can do everything and more that Zach can do, and this organization can handle a personality like that. Kyler Murray. What does his contract look like? Did he get a contract? Or was he just trying to get a contract? I don't particularly like Kyler. I think he is good. I think he's really accurate. So he's got a contract? Yeah, I guess he got a contract, but they're not going to be able to trade him. He's got a big cap hit too. If they cut him, they wouldn't be able to trade him until like 2025. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Jeez, that is an ugly contract. But you have him signed for a long time. So you think he would have been signed 2022, 2023 would have been his 5th year option. So you basically got a 2-year extension out of it before his, it'll be $50 million. I don't think that's happening. I don't think Kyler coming over here is realistic. It would be interesting though. I think he's really, really accurate. And I think it's, that type of quarterback would be fine. I just don't know how much I want like another small guy. I kind of want a big bodied quarterback. Eric T says, if your leading rusher is your quarterback with 26 yards, what is the problem? I mentioned this in my post game or my 5 takeaways video. And it's that the running game with Michael Carter and James Robinson had under 2 yards per touch. That is not good. You can't have that. But I don't believe that's a reflection on the running backs and the offensive line. I think it's more of a reflection on the fact that Zach Wilson was unable to hit any wide receivers. The conditions with the wind allowed it so that, the Jets weren't taking a lot of deep shots. And it allowed the Patriots to stack the box. And they said, hey, we want the second-year quarterback to beat us. He couldn't do it. So I blame it more on Zach than I do the rest of the running back room. You can let me know if that's right or wrong. Put Clemens in at quarterback. I feel like Clemens could play any position. Guy's just an animal. Hexen. White threw 8 interceptions in 4 games. He isn't what some fans think he is. If they are going to sit Wilson, they should play Strevler, in my opinion. He played better than White in preseason against the same players. I like the excitement that Strevler brings because of the play style that he has. I'm sort of with you on the Mike White stuff. I do think Joe Flacco will be the quarterback if a change has to be made. I think there's a reason you started him for 3 games at the beginning of the season. The wide receivers already have some type of connection with him to some extent because they went through 7 weeks with him through training camp in the first 3 weeks. So I would be surprised if White was the quarterback. We'll see how it all plays out here in the next few days. It sounds like Wednesday is when we're going to find out. Edward Ziff, then I'll get to Candle Jack in just a second. Edward Ziff says, Rodgers for 2 years, let Zach sit and learn. He's too raw. I like the idea of letting Zach sit for a year. I really do, because I think you can let him sit, but it has to be a quarterback that's, if he plays up to that level or better, we're going to go places. So someone like a David Carr or a Derek Carr, someone like a Jimmy Garoppolo, someone like, I hate to say it, I said it before, I said it a few weeks ago, you guys didn't want to hear it, Tom Brady, it's going to come up. It's going to come up. I'm telling you. Zach Wilson sitting behind Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers for a year. Brady's not going to cost you anything except for money. I don't like it. It would be kind of nice to watch, like, Patriot fans have to watch the Jets win a Super Bowl with their old quarterback that they cherish and covet. Like, sort of like how we watched Revis, only it's different because we didn't win a Super Bowl and they have 6 anyway or whatever. I would prefer Garoppolo. That's Garoppolo or Carr are the two that I would eye. And Carr to me doesn't feel like he's getting moved. My buddy seems to think that the Raiders are going to blow it up. He's a big time Raider fan, and I don't get that vibe. But we'll see. Candle Jack says, I don't think benching Zach equals he is a bust. He may have always needed time. He might have always been a project. Sucks he was the number 2 pick, but I'd keep him. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to get rid of him, but I do think you have to bring in a veteran that will likely start next year. And then you probably don't exercise Zach's 5th-year option going into year 4, and you allow him to try and just, he's going to have to prove it then. It depends what quarterback comes in for competition. If it's someone like Garoppolo or Carr, you're probably looking to then move Zach Wilson at some point. And then if it's someone like, Rodgers or a Tom Brady or some older veteran type quarterback. I don't know. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him sit, but that wasn't really in the cards, unfortunately. Omega says, Joe D did a great job, answered every other question, but he chose wrong at quarterback. Zach is not the guy. Good thing we got a great scenario, a quarterback's dream. I think we should go for Derek Carr in 2023. I really like Derek Carr. Someone was telling me he's not good in cold weather games, and I don't actually know what his stats are in cold weather games. That's something I'm going to have to look up. I would say Derek Carr provides a higher ceiling, but a lower... I don't know if I'd say a lower floor than Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo is like a very high floor and a relatively low ceiling, but that might be exactly what we need. Derek Carr's probably more of like could have a lower floor, but a much higher ceiling. I do like that option. I don't know what you have to give up to get him. And they just got Devontae Adams, so I feel like Carr might be upset. It seems like he really, really likes playing with Adams, and I don't know if I want to, not piss off a quarterback, but, I kind of don't want to... I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? I think I'm trying to say that right. Guys, we got 261 votes in our live poll in the live chat. If you want to answer this question, who should start for the Bears, or who should start for the Jets versus the Bears? Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, Chris Shrevler. You can look and see what the percentages are and vote in the live chat. Kevin C says Joe Douglas on Becton and Wilson, 2 first-round misses. Yeah, but he also has AVT Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and you could argue Breece Hall and Elijah Moore as hits. Elijah Moore obviously not getting involved, but I don't think it's necessarily a talent issue. And Breece obviously got hurt, but you're talking are you gonna knock Joe Douglas for Breece and Elijah Moore being 3 picks into the second round and not being considered first round picks? You're talking, what is that, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 first round picks if you want to include Elijah Moore and Breece Hall in his 3 years, and you're calling 2 of the 8 bad. That's cool. I'll take a 75 hit rate in the first round, considering where our first round picks are. I see what you're saying. Becton hurt. When you go back to the live stream that we had for that draft, all of us were calling for Wirfs. We were hoping for Wirfs to be the tackle there. Going with the left tackle, don't hate the move. There were some red flags a little bit before the draft, but still had some concerns. Wilson, it seemed by all accounts, Wilson was the number 2 quarterback. If we had taken Fields, I'd be fine with that too. I do like Fields. I don't think he's going to be the passer right away. I think he's going to rely on his physical attributes for a little bit until it all starts to click. Not dissimilar from Lamar. build the offense around him, build it up the right way, and I think you'll have a really, really successful quarterback. And I don't like Mac Jones, and I like Trey Lance. I thought he was a really talented quarterback. Just sucks with all the injuries. Blitz Crew says, Jordan Love. I don't want Jordan Love. Dylan Murray says, so I've been trolling Master at work since his videos dropped, and that bum blocked me on his socials. When are you going on the round table again? I think I'm going on the round table. Are they doing it Wednesday? I think I'm doing it Wednesday with him. I think I'm coming on. He's actually going to come on for the first few minutes of tomorrow's Talkin' Jets panel as well. I went on with him, Richie, and Patriots Global on the AFC East Roundtable on Friday, and we talked about it, and we're like, okay, hey, after the game, win or lose, we'll both come on, take our lumps. And look, I'm still happy with. I shouldn't say I'm not happy with the way the Jets played, but like, I don't necessarily feel like the Patriots were the better team. Like, I felt like Zach was the liability. Like, if you have below average quarterback play from Zach, I think we win that game. But we'll get into it with him tomorrow. Daniel, thank you so much, says, we always said average quarterback play wins us those games, and White is as average as they come, and I would hate if the coin has us losing to the Pats in the AFC Championship. Ugh. If we get a third crack at the Patriots and it's in the playoffs, I would be so happy. One, because we made the playoffs, and two, because I really think we should beat them. And I think after losing twice in the same year, you got to be able to get it the third time. If you don't, you're the worst team. I don't really have much of a leg to stand on at this point. But I do think we were the better team for the most part. Michael Miller says, do you think the possible benching Saleh's decision based on evaluation or reaction to mutinous grumblings in the locker room, or a little of both? I think it's a little bit of both. Zach was clearly bad in the last few games, really all season outside of the Steeler game. But there was little bright spots, nothing explosive, but enough where you didn't have to pull him because you could at least lean on like you're winning kind of a thing. But I do think a big reason was because of all the noise from the media, all the noise from the players. The way the fans are feeling right now, the players at least feel that. I think they know more about what's going on, so there's a little more nuance to it. But I think it's not unreasonable to believe that the players are feeling the same way. And you have to hold players accountable. And I like what Joe Douglas is doing, because I think it sends a message to Zach like, hey, look, you're being put on watch. You're the number 2 overall pick, but you're not above it. Like, if you're going to play bad and you're going to cost us games, we're going to have to put someone else in. And I think having that little bit of a panic maybe allows him to play a little bit better this week. That's where I'm hoping it all goes. Raymond says, Mike White didn't have the weapons when he played last year. Like this, would be interesting to see what he could do. If they decide to play White, I'm okay with it. I think they're going to go with Flacco. I think if they wanted to play White now, they would have played White earlier in the season. Edward Ziff says, what about Gardner Minshew? He's good and cheap. I like Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew should have been brought in this year or at the trade deadline. I don't want to go into next season having a quarterback competition of Gardner Minshew and Zach Wilson, because you are now wasting prime years, potentially, if this flops, of Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. Realistically, this defense is not going to be as good as it was this year. Defensive performance is very hard to translate year over year. Offensive performance, you can kind of make up for some of that. But there's a realistic shot we're losing guys like Rankins, like Lawson, like Curry, like Quincy Williams, like Quan Alexander. And I don't know how the Jets replace that kind of production. Obviously, I hope we resign some of them. Hopefully some of them restructure. But I think for next year, if you're going to go all in, you have to go all in. Like, go and make a move. Go get Lamar Jackson. Go get a Garoppolo or a Carr, Rodgers, Brady. Like, there's a lot of names you can throw out there. To a lesser extent, you could look at like Jameis Winston. You could look at Ryan Tannehill. Those are not super high up on my list, but those are acceptable options, I think, because if Zach beats those guys out, then I think we're at least headed in the right direction. And I would be a little bit more comfortable. Joe S. says, big setback because Joe Douglas drafted Zach Wilson to be the franchise. I don't think, I mean, it's a big setback because your quarterback didn't hit. You have to give the quarterback 2-3 years. The only issue is we are so good right now that we've flubbed it up, and now we are like, okay, shit, now we got to get a quarterback, and I think we're gonna go out and get a veteran. I don't think we're gonna draft one. We might draft one in like the 3rd or 4th round. I would advise that. Even if you get one of these younger guys like a Carr or Garoppolo, just let them sit behind, learn, and in 3 years, 4 years, you let them come in, or they step in during the preseason. They step in little spots, maybe for winning, get a few reps. And then maybe you have a tradable asset or a backup plan in case something goes sideways. Dylan Murray says, can't wait. You don't celebrate 3rd place that hard. Is that what the Patriots are? I'll be honest. I didn't really care. I don't know. I didn't care what the Patriots did. It sucked the way it lost. Brian says, sadly, I can't think of a backup quarterback in the league that wouldn't be an upgrade from Zach at this point. I don't want to say a backup quarterback, but what's scary is I shouldn't say scary. It's good because you can get almost any quarterback play. The mind-boggling thing to me is we've had such awful quarterback play for so long. I really thought Zach was going to be the guy. He has all the talent to do all the good throws or to make all the good throws. Just didn't work out. But yeah, I agree. Mumtaz, what's up, dude? Says, LaFleur, protection scheme sucks. Pat's squeezed edges as offensive tackle is not good enough, and 1 to 2 guys wait to shoot the A-gap. Then Zach is flushed. They take him down once. Zach is flustered. He starts missing easy throws. Yeah, they know how to get to us. Look, 5th-string tackle, 3rd-string guard, mixed with all the stunts and a quarterback that's having a rough go of it anyway, that's a recipe for not success. It's never gonna go over well. So I think there's probably, I don't want to say it's not. I don't know how much of it is LaFleur's protection scheme as much as it's like Benton training it and teaching it. Was Zach flustered? Yeah, but I think most of it was on him. He had guys open. Josh Sorensen says, when you get a chance, look at Ryan Leaf's stats compared to Zach's stats through 20 games. Interceptions aside, it's scary similar. Even have the same immaturity. See, I don't remember Ryan Leaf playing. I remember watching Peyton Manning growing up because he was in our division. But just because of them being on the other side of the country and in a different division, I never really watched much of the Chargers aside from the LT Phillip Rivers years. But stats through 20 games, especially the game's changed so much since then. So for his stats now to be similar to his stats then is alarming. It's not quite as that's more jarring, I think, than some of the other comparisons. Mike Anthony, what's up? He says, if the Ravens and Lamar can't agree on a contract extension and he happens to demand a trade, what would you want the Jets to give up? I hope it happens. Probably won't. If Lamar becomes available, I trust Joe Douglas and Saleh, LaFleur, the rest of the team to know whether Lamar is the guy. My biggest issue, or my only issue with Lamar, is do they think he's sustainable long-term if his legs are not what they are? If his game is so predicated on his ability to be mobile, are you okay with potentially trading away 3 firsts and giving a 4 or 5 year, $250 million fully guaranteed contract for potentially 3 years of Lamar? I don't know. Do his physical attributes age well with him? Or do they, does he lose a step? If he loses a step, how does that impact his game? He's got an insanely strong arm. He would easily be the best quarterback we've had probably ever. He'd be really good. And with the running game we have, we could tailor the offense to something that would make him feel comfortable. We like using the tight ends anyway. He likes using the tight ends. So I could see it. My concern might be, maybe it's not so much of a concern, but Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Mims, all the wide receivers, are we going to get enough touches? It doesn't seem like receivers tend to stick well in Baltimore. But if you think you can win a Super Bowl and they determine that's the guy, it's probably 3 first-round picks. Maybe you can get away with 2 plus trading Zach there and like, maybe a second-round pick or something. Like maybe there's some way you can facilitate it where it's not quite as pick intensive because of the monster contract that's looming. But you look at what Deshaun Watson just got in a trade, and you got to think it's got to be similar to that. Romani AD says, in a perfect world, wouldn't it be amazing if we play Pats in the playoffs and Zach leads us to a victory, redemption or not? If we get to the playoffs and Zach is going to be faced with a third chance at the Patriots, I think the interesting question is, like, I guess, one, how has Zach been playing from this week through the playoffs? I guess if we make the playoffs, he's probably playing somewhat well. But for him to go up against the Patriots in the playoffs, if he's struggling similar to how he's struggling now, they might pull him. Like, could you imagine that? A starting quarterback that leads your team to the playoffs and you get pulled because Bill Belichick has your number? Like, does Joe Flacco fare better? I don't know. But if Zach leads us to our first victory against the Patriots in the playoffs, that would be very, very nice. I'd be licking my chops. And that would be his redemption. We would be pumped if he could lead us. Like, I'm not saying like win in the fashion we could have almost accidentally won yesterday. I mean, I want him to win it for us. Derek Carr trade package. His contract's not bad. So his contract is like $31 million for next year. But as of February 10th, that $31 million is fully guaranteed. But if you're trading for him, you're at least keeping him on your team for next year anyway. As of February 10th, he also has $7 million guaranteed for 2024. So worst case scenario, if you don't like him after next year, you could cut him and save a bunch of money. The issue is going to be, I think if you're trading for him, I don't know if it's worth... Like, if I were him, I would force the Jets to cut me or pay me the $41 million. Like, why would you try to renegotiate? I think you'd probably renegotiate the contract at time of trade, so that way you can eliminate some of the cap hit for next year. He didn't get a very big signing bonus, so it's not cost prohibitive for the Raiders to trade him, but it might be a little bit less. So it might be like a second and a fifth. I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat. If you don't have to give up your first round pick, that's pretty sweet. But I like Jimmy Garoppolo as a free agent. Like, that seems more appealing to me. I can't see him playing for the Jets, though. Not Jimmy Garoppolo. Derek Carr. It seems like he really likes Vegas, really likes being a Raider, and really likes playing with Devontae Adams. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. All right, let's pull up the Google Voice. I want to get your thoughts on everything surrounding the New York Jets. Ooh, we got another super chat in here. Let me get to that before we jump over to the phone lines. Brian Bogan says, how pissed would Moore be if he got traded with Zach in a package? I don't think that would happen. I think we keep Elijah Moore at this point. We probably try to move on from Zach or find some type of competition. I think if we hold on to Zach, there's a higher chance that Elijah Moore's traded. But there's going to be some fascinating talks. I'm interested to see where it all plays out. Chris KV says, Zach has played worse than most of the backups we've seen start this season. Who cares if White is a backup? Let's see what he's got. I think the way the Jets are handling it is the right way. Like, I like the... hey, you're being put on notice right now. We're calling you out. Like, you sucked yesterday. We called you out in the film room today. Like, you got to get better. And if you don't, like, look, we're going to make the call on Wednesday. And I think it's good. You know, they got Thanksgiving and everything on Thursday. Make the call on Wednesday. It's going to be Zach Wilson starting. I think it's going to be a short leash. If he flounders like he did the first half, well, the entire game, then I think we wind up making the move at halftime. Tapseer, thank you for the super chat. He or she says, Mac Jones was sacked 6 times, so his offensive line didn't play well either, but he still threw for over 200 yards and 70 plus completion percentage, Mac Jones found a way to deal with the conditions. Yeah, I mean, look, Mac Jones was able to hit the easy throws. I said it yesterday. Mac Jones had, I think, one throw over 5 yards in the air. Everything else was like on the ground or like within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And that's how friggin' Mike White won us that game against the Bengals too. There's no shame in that game. Zach has to be able to hit those. If Zach hits those easy throws, this team is so much better. The fact that he just can't hit an easy throw is just so mind-boggling to me. When are we getting John Beck back? Get his quarterback coach in here. Get this dude some help. Omega says, Ryan, my homie, let's start a poll now. 2023, top 5 choices for quarterback. Carr, Jimmy, Lamar. Let's figure it out. Ooh, okay. So let's do this. I'm going to end my poll right now. We got 403 votes in the live poll in the chat as it stands. 38% of you want Mike White to start. 28% of you want Zach Wilson to start. 21% say Chris Streveler. Only 13% say Joe Flacco, which means 87% of you are going to be disappointed because Joe Flacco is definitely going to be starting if it's not Zach Wilson. That's my thought on that as so far, at least. But let's go through. Let's create another poll. I like this idea. We'll start a poll. See, who would you want? I'm not going to put Zach's name on here. We're going to assume we're going in a different direction. So we're going to put Jimmy G. I'm going to say Derek Carr. We'll go Lamar Jackson. But I don't want you to just say these guys in a vacuum. I want you to look at it and determine the cost associated with it. So I'll put a little note next to each one, right? Like we'll do Jimmy G, free agent. We'll say Derek Carr. We'll call it second and fifth. Say Lamar Jackson, for argument's sake. Let's call it, I don't know, let's say 3 firsts. And then who should our last one be? I guess I see Aaron Rodgers coming up as a popular option. Gardner Minshew from Lame Cactus. All right, Lame Cactus. You want me to put Gardner Minshew on there? I haven't seen anything else, so let's go Gardner Minshew. All right. So I'm asking the community right now. It is in there. There you go. Vote on who you want. I didn't even put anything next to Gardner Minshew. I don't know what he is I think he's a free agent. So there's that option. What else we got? And Citybert comes in, says, Plan B next year. You like Carr or Jimmy G? I like Jimmy G because of the price. I like Jimmy G because of the cost in terms of not needing to trade for him. Like, I think he's going to be cheaper than Derek Carr on a money contract. I think he's going to be cheaper in terms of compensation that you'd have to give up, which is either nothing or not much. Like if they were to tag him and you'd have to trade for him possibly. Which I don't think is likely. I like the connection with the coaching staff. So I like that he knows Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, Benton, Tomlinson, and if Quan comes back next year, he knows Quan, and whatever happens with Solomon Thomas. Like there's guys on this team that he would know. And then he's also going against the Patriots. So maybe there's a little bit of bad blood with New England choosing Brady over him. Like maybe there's a little extra juice to that. I think the fact that he was in a Super Bowl with a team structured very similar to how the Jets look right now is an even bigger confidence boost because you can get there with him. And at that time, the NFC was loaded with talent. The AFC is now loaded with talent. Jimmy G has shown to have a very high floor at the very least. I think you can win with this defense and Jimmy G. That's my preferred route of action. Church, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I really like a reunion with Geno Smith. No, absolutely not. I don't hate Geno. I really wish he didn't get his jaw punched in because I think he could have done something. But I don't want to go with Geno Smith. Not really. That would be an interesting turn of events, though. Could you imagine that? All right. I said we were going to go to the super chats. Or not to the super chats, to the phone lines. So let's go over to the phone lines. I'm going to put the number up on the screen. You get 3 minutes to plead your case. After 3 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right. You get tossed. Tossed out with the bathwater. Who we got? Ooh. Hey, give me 1 second. I just have to get you into my ears because for some reason you're not coming through my headphones right now. All right. Can you try talking to me, caller? Ah, I got you now. Okay, perfect. Welcome to the cockpit. Right? Oh, hold on 1 second. They cannot hear you. Why can they not hear you? I have you bouncing right there. Sorry, give me just a second here. Was it something I did with my sound just now? That looks good. That looks good. All right, try talking now. Nope, sorry. Hold on. It's something on my end. What did I do? Speakers. Let's see. No, that's not it. There we go. Okay, you should be able to talk now. Let's try that again.
Hello? Okay.
There we go. Okay, we got you. Sorry, that's my fault. All right, reset
Okay.
the timer. Let's talk.
Okay. This week just proved to me that Wilson isn't the guy. I mean, I've been thinking this for the entire season, but this just kind of validated it, with how terrible he is. I think we need to move on, probably even now, because we have a shot. Our team is so good. Our team, our defense. I don't know if we'll ever recapture what we have in this defense. It's so hard in the NFL to win, and we have such a good opportunity right now. I mean, the AFC is open as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we need a spark. Wilson's not doing it. I think, honestly, F it. I would try Mike White or Shrevler. I know it's a little ridiculous, but even, I mean, obviously Saleh thinks somewhat similar with the comments he made today that Wilson is not the penciled-in starter.
Yeah.
I think we need someone new next year. I don't know what it's going to be. I already know exactly what I want. I am diehard on my belief that I want Gardner Minshew so badly. I was the one on the link hack. I was spamming in chat. Minshew.
It's good, brother.
I mean, he's young.
Yeah.
He's done nothing but play well in this time with a terrible, incompetent Jacksonville team with a terrible O-line. 41 touchdowns to 12 interceptions in his career. I mean, the man does nothing but play well.
The nice thing is he's in Philly right now, so there's that Joe Douglas connection down there, and he could probably get a little bit of an inside knowledge on it.
He's a free agent too. He'll be cheap. He's young. He's 26 years old. He's a free agent. He's played great. And I think what's great about it is you could also draft someone behind him. So I'm not saying put all your marbles into Minshew, but you sign a guy like Minshew, And then in like the second or third round, you could draft like an Anthony Richardson type guy who is like basically Josh Allen type prospect, super developmental, but he has the speed of Lamar and like the arm of Allen. Like he's insane. So you could do something like that where you could draft Anthony Richardson in like the third round and you get Minshew rolling in, and you have Minshew now. I mean, he's smart. Like he'll take the check down. He just knows what he's doing. We need a guy like that. And Jimmy G is a great option for like that. But we've also seen that. Can we win a Super Bowl with him? I don't know. Where Minshew, I feel like, still has that untapped potential. I'm sorry. That was a rant. I'm sorry. I'll let you
No, that's all right. I think there's, for me, I would feel very concerned with bringing in Gardner Minshew as like the guy that's going to lead us. I understand what you're saying. I think there is a very high upside with Gardner Minshew. It's a boom or bust type prospect. For me, I feel like, oh man, I guess I trust our evaluation skills enough where if they make that move, I'm okay with it. But that, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies that I wanted to. Maybe I got to watch a little more Minshew, and maybe we get it. I think he's got the pizzazz and the charisma to be a quarterback. And I think it would be fun because like, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of fun watching Zach have like the machismo or whatever, like, I banged my mom's friend, and like the whole NFL loved him. Like everyone loves Minshew. Like it would be kind of nice to see that. I don't know, brother.
The issue with Minshew is
Boom! You're out of here!
You're out of here. 3 minutes, my friend. 3 minutes. All right, let me get to some super chats that came in. Then we'll go back to the phones. Nicholas says, the way everyone is acting, we should just bring Sam back. Yeah, Sam's going to be a free agent. If you ever wanted to see how Sam Darnold looked with talent around him, just bring him back. I still got my jersey in the back. Come on, Sammy. Let's make it happen. Nah, I would cry a little bit. Citybird said, did you discuss the liked tweets by Sauce yet? We did not. I did address it in a video earlier today, but let's talk about it. So Sauce and John Franklin Myers both liked tweets that were in relation to, the poor play of Zach Wilson. John Franklin Myers yesterday liked a tweet from Jay Gray, one of our good Jet fans. Josh Allen, after a loss to the Jets, and then in quotes, I put that on me. I let the team down. As a quarterback, you can't play like shit. Zach Wilson, after the loss to the Patriots, do you feel like you held the defense back? He says no. John Franklin Myers liked that. He later came back and said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like that. That was a mistake. We're all good or whatever. Sauce, earlier today, around 10 o'clock, had a tweet he was tagged in, or maybe he wasn't tagged in, but said, you don't owe your defense, is what Jordan Lewis said. And Sauce liked that. He says it was by mistake. He didn't know about liking it until he only found out because everyone else started tagging him in it. So he says, I didn't mean to like that tweet, I swear. This tells me it's a PR nightmare. And it's the Jets PR department that's like, oh God, get in touch with Sauce right now. Let him know. John Franklin Myers, he did a thing. We got to let him know. And I think all that we heard, along with Garrett Wilson's comments yesterday, I think the Elijah Moore stuff, I think there's a lot of stuff festering and a lot of stuff brewing. And then Zach Wilson's comments came out, and it just, I think that's exactly why Saleh had to come out and say what he did. You couldn't just go through the rest of this week and not say anything. East Coast Kev says, I like the Strevler kid. So do I. The kid is really fun to watch. And I think, like Lame Cactus, our first caller, said, if there's a way to create a spark, I don't know if Flacco's it. White or Strevler would be the spark for me. But I think Flacco just has so much repetition and so much experience in the playoffs. Like, the playoffs are a totally different thing. I really think if we're going to start someone in place of Zach, I think it's going to be Joe Flacco. I hope I'm wrong, but I would be very surprised if it was not. All right, let's head back to the phones. Phone number is on the screen. You get 3 minutes to plead your case. After 3 minutes,
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right. I toss you out. Our live poll is going in the chat. Who would you want at quarterback in 2023? 45% of you say Jimmy G. 26% of you say Derek Carr. 23% of you, or now 25% of you, say Lamar Jackson. 6% say Gardner Minshew.
From
Kieran.
Kira, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the call.
Yeah,
So,
of course. What do you want to talk about?
yesterday-
What's on your mind?
Yesterday was not fun.
No.
I'm dealing with COVID. I was really, it's just a sad day when the Jets are wasting your COVID symptoms.
Right?
But I want to get to it. So looking back at this season, do we feel like besides Elijah Moore and besides Denzel Mims, there have been any signs that the team does not have Zach's back, that they just don't believe in him?
Yes. For me, Garrett Wilson, I don't think it was necessarily a dig at Zach, but it was clearly like a, hey, when he said the thing about catching passes that are not 100 miles an hour, when Flacco came in there, it's nice like having a ball, like knowing where the ball's going to be placed. Like that to me was like, okay, Zach's inaccurate and he throws the ball too hard. And his receivers are having a hard time catching it, and that's probably why we see a lot of drops. So that was the biggest one, I think, and we kind of flagged it when it happened. It was like, oh, that's an interesting comment. And then I think it's just the body language. Like I think last year, the offensive line, particularly McGovern, and it was something that just seriously rubbed me the wrong way, was like it felt like the offensive line did not have Zach's back. And I think it's because he holds the ball too long. He dances around in the backfield. He tries to create these spectacular plays, and it makes the offensive line look even worse than they are. So I think this has kind of been brewing for a little bit, and it's only coming to a head right now.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's just frustrating because I really respect Saleh, and I feel like this is something you just got to nip in the bud.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like the idea that this Zach being a number 2, being above the rest of the team, is like the antithesis of everything Saleh's building. And I know he's the number 2 pick, but in this system with this culture, unacceptable to act that way when you're not giving the results or producing the results.
Yeah, I think they gave him leeway because of the winning. Like, it's weird to pull your quarterback when you're winning games, especially when it's the number 2 overall pick. So I think there was some major consideration for that. But I think the 2 losses to the Patriots and the way he has performed, even in the wins, were so alarming. And yesterday, like, you could tell when we got the ball with 2 minutes left, there was no hope. They were playing for the tie. They were like just hoping their defense made a play or special teams made a play. They did not rely on Zach Wilson at all. You could tell they were afraid to utilize him. And that to me was the death sentence for Zach. I think yesterday was the day yesterday was the day Jet fans are going to turn on Zach. And I think it's going to be hard to shift that narrative without him playing like really, really well.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, looking ahead, let's pretend Zach Wilson is our quarterback for the rest of the year.
Okay.
What team, minus the Bills, are we afraid of doing what Belichick did to Zach? Because he's had success against some really good defenses, but it's that kind of evil mastermind Belichick approach where you could really exploit his flaws. What of those teams are you most afraid of in that regard?
Tennessee. Not that I think Tennessee is like a world beater, but I think Vrabel is a very, very smart coach, and I think he can find a way similar to Belichick. And I think the little bit of a connection that they probably still have at this point in time, it wouldn't shock me if Vrabel calls up Belichick as like, hey, they're going to be looking closely at our losses to see how they did it. Like, let me call my good buddy and see how they manufactured that pressure on Zach. I think that's, as weird as that sounds, I think that's the team I would be concerned about of all the teams in the playoffs, aside from like the Bills. And then obviously the Chiefs' offense is scary. But defensively, it's the Patriots, and I think it's the Titans for me.
Okay.
Boom!
Out of here!
You're out of here. Who we got?
call from
Jason.
Jason, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Well, how you doing, my man?
I am hanging in there. It has been a long last 24 hours. It feels like we just are in this perpetual like cycle of like excitement one week. We're so live or die. It's amazing. It's like the rush, like, oh, the sky's falling. And then it's like, oh my God, we can win everything. And then the sky's falling the next week. And I'm mentally exhausted from it.
I feel you, my man, dude. Our fan base is just so passionate. It's live or die week by week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now we
It's
get
a
into
good
this
thing. It's
situation.
fun. But go on.
So, in my opinion, I think Zach Wilson, if he doesn't show anything, he's gonna be done. I think in this Bills game, if he's not performing at least to the average, he's gonna get replaced. In my opinion, I think Mike White's gonna be his replacement because of last year we saw what he was able to do with his first couple of starts. Yes, he threw those 4 bad picks in the Bills game and all that, but it's been a year since then. We get to see how he developed into that. You know, with Streller, you don't know what you have in him. He's a random. You know, he could lead you. He could be like Mike White. He could lead you to a win, but at the same time, he could throw 6 picks. We may never know. And then Flacco has been interesting because of he hasn't looked good in games. He has always thrown like a pick in every time he plays. He just doesn't, and he's not mobile. So if he's gonna get sacked, he's gonna get sacked. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, I think there is a concern for that, right? Like the mobility factor for Joe Flacco is clearly an issue. We saw it early on, but the passing game was just so good. And with all the talent you have, maybe that opens up lanes for the running game that make it so you don't have to have your quarterback be as mobile. But the offensive line is all beat up, so like that's going to be an issue. I don't know. Mike White to me would be interesting because you tendered him. So at least you could say, hey, maybe Mike White can be the answer for next year. And maybe it's Mike White versus someone like Gardner Minshew, or Mike White versus, Zach Wilson versus Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that. I have a hard time believing Mike White's the guy that's going to lead us to like a Super Bowl.
I totally agree with you about that. I'm just talking for this year. For next year, I'm expecting. For next year, we'll win now. This is next year's going to be a Super Bowl nothing. So that's in my opinion. I think if the Ravens don't want to pay Lamar, I think the Jets will pull the trigger because we're in a win now mode. And with this, we have talent. We have enough talent to win, just as is right now.
Yeah, my concern. I shouldn't say my concern, but I'm going to be interested to watch Baltimore and see how they play this year. How do they play in the playoffs? How does Lamar play down the stretch? Like, because I think Baltimore is a really good team. They don't have the weapons that we have. I mean, they have Mark Andrews, obviously stud tight end. They have some good running backs back there. They're a little banged up. But, like, how does he perform? Is the ball in the right spot? Like, I want to keep a close eye on him because he's so young and he's so electric and so game-breaking. Like, I think players are going to have a really good time playing with Lamar. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But you have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let me get this super chat in here real quick. Stifler's mom drops in, says, I like Anthony Richardson. Imagine those two in at quarterback. Richardson has got to wear number 15, though that number is so swaggy for a quarterback. I do like the number 15. It is kind of nice. There's something about it. Some numbers are just nice on the eyes. Yeah, man, 6'4", 236. That's a big quarterback. It'd be fun. I wonder what round he's supposed to go in. Because maybe you bring someone in and you just roll the dice on him. I could get down with that. He's got the measurables. All right. Let's go back to the calls. Let's see, I'm going to move the topic thing over here. Probably makes more sense to be under the number than anything else. So, guys, you get 3 minutes to plead your case. After 3 minutes, I'm going to boot you. See what we got in the chat. FM says, Ryan, talk about Geno. Geno is a free agent next year. I really don't want Geno. I think it's just, I think I'm sour from his time here, but he's playing well. I think he stays with Seattle next year.
Mike the Barber, Jet.
Mike the Barber, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey guys, how you doing? I think we should just stay with Zach and see what we have till next year and let the kid develop.
Yeah, just start him every game. Kind of let him throw all over the yard.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing. The issue for me is that there's 52 guys that are playing, like if you consider a 3-year career in the NFL, they're playing 33% of their career earnings into Zach Wilson. Like that's that's a little alarming when you think of it kind of that way, and it's not really how the head coach and the GM have to think. But I do think our best chance to play well in the playoffs and to go far is with Zach Wilson. It's having Zach figure it out. My issue is he's been so bad that I don't know if he can turn it around. I don't know if we've ever seen someone do it like this. I mean, people will bring up Josh Allen, but it's such a different guy. What was that?
He played fine before that. You know, he played the Alex Smith ball.
Yeah, that's what you're kind of hoping, but it felt more, I don't know. Maybe it's just that the Patriots have his number and we're all doom and gloom for 2 weeks of the season and everything else is going to be all right.
Another game. Let's play next week, right?
He just looked so unimpressive against like the Packers, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bills. Like we were patting him on the back for the Bills because he was like not causing issues. He was just like, okay. It was, I like winning games, but like, is that going to win in the? I don't know if it wins in the playoffs though.
Hey, you know.
If you could tell me we could get Alex Smith level production from Zach Wilson, I'd be tickled pink. I don't think it's possible.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
What was that?
That's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, that's just it. I was totally on board with getting Alex Smith. I'm totally on board with getting Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the level of quarterback I think this team can win with.
Third round pick for him.
Well, you don't have to trade anything for Jimmy G. Jimmy G is going to be able to walk in free agency unless they tag him. But like if he signs that tender, I don't know if a team's going to want to pay him top 5 quarterback money.
Maybe the Giants will take him.
Maybe. I don't know what the Giants do. It feels like they're probably going to bring back Jones for another year, or at least try to. I think they're going to wind up in no man's land as far as quarterback draft position goes. But I think they could be in play for Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson with Daboll at the helm is going to be very similar to like a Josh Allen. That would be an exciting offense to watch.
Baltimore would never let Jackson leave.
I hope not. I think them dragging their feet is a little concerning. Well, they'll franchise tag him, but if Lamar says he's not playing, I think they'd probably force a trade at that point. Like you'd have to make a move. I don't think Lamar risks his body again on the franchise tag.
I would risk it.
I would if I was Lamar too, because if he plays on the franchise tag, well, here's the thing. He's probably going to get franchise tagged twice because that's a better, like what the Redskins at the time did with Kirk Cousins was probably the right way to go about it. You're getting a guy that has his back against the wall. He's playing for a contract and you get that to happen 3 straight times. You would love to have that happen for Lamar without having to pay the massive amount of money for a guy that might get one crack to the leg and be done.
Sure.
Or might lose a step with age. So
they're all one step away from retirement.
It's true. Yeah, one bad injury. All one snap. Yep. Brother, thank you so much for the call.
You're out of here!
From the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Lima Bean.
Hey, what's up, Lima Bean? How you doing? Welcome back to the cockpit.
Oh man, that was a kick to the balls and then another kick after that. So,
just kicking us while we're down.
Like, I mean, the thing is, I think this is probably like a 3rd or 4th time I saw New England kill like any hopes and dreams I ever had for a quarterback. You know, like what could have been or what maybe we believed he could be. Like first Sanchez with the butt fumble, and I remember Sam with the seeing ghosts, and now this. It's like it's hard to get back up from this, you know? Like, it's just, and so was that team on top of that. Like,
let me ask you, are you watching Monday Night Football at all? Like, are you keeping an eye on not Alex Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, I just, let's say if we get Jimmy Garoppolo, like, will be relevant, but I don't think he'll get us to the promised land. Now, that might be decent if we're grooming somebody behind him, but, like, we're not. Like, the thing is, like, I think Steve Young said it best on his weekly, like, without a top, like, 10 quarterback, you're just, at best, you'll be relevant, but you'll never have the chance to win the big games. Like, that's
sure. And I think that's why Zach becomes the number 2 pick versus someone like a Mac Jones.
Well, and then that's another thing. Like, look at it this way. If Jimmy is so great to the point, and he's gotten the 49ers where they've gone, and they still traded 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance. So think about that. Like, that, like, yeah, I mean, at this point, anybody would be better than the way Zach Wilson's playing. I don't know how you fix him. Like, honestly, he needs to apologize to the room and, like, to every teammate, like, individually. Like, get up there and, like, start, you know, like, kissing some butt. Like, and then he needs to start doing laps. Like, he needs to, like, have a serious – if he has any chance, which seems slim to none, he needs to have, like, this epic redemption situation. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I would play him with a short leash with the Bears because that's probably the weakest defense you'll see right now. Like, you wouldn't want to play against the Bills or the Vikings after being benched. So this is like his shot to survive in advance. I don't know what to do at this point, and I'm kind of like, there is no quarterback other than Lamar Jackson. I don't think the Ravens will give that up. I don't know where to go with this, and I mean, we're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round because we won't have that positioning or trade up for it. So I got nothing. Like, it's either we hope to God, like, I don't believe in Mike White. I just don't. Like, I just think he's going to be another Ryan Fitzpatrick at best. And Strebler, well, he's a wild ride thing, but I think that's just, I don't even know what to think of that. So either we hope to God that by some miracle he figures it out, or we have to think about a veteran and then finding another quarterback and developing him behind him, like, but legitimately, not like a middle round pick that'll end up being Jake Fromm. Like, that's what I think. Like,
I think whoever you bring in, whether it be Carr, whether it be Jimmy G, whether it be Tannehill,
like,
I don't think Carr's leaving either.
Before he left the Raiders.
That's exactly it. And you watch some of his interviews; he's crying, because he loves the Raiders so much. He's so happy he's playing with Devontae Adams.
Like, I don't think he's leaving. I don't know, other than Jimmy, and I just don't know what's out there. Truly, like, I got nothing. I mean, we have to hope to God that Zach has come to Jesus moment. Like, that's it. Like, you better start praying.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely something we need him to turn it around. Thank you so much for the call, brother. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Sheridan.
What's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hi, Ryan. Oh, man, it's so hard to be a Jets fan right now.
So let me ask you, who's starting versus the Bears?
To be honest, I want to see Strev, man. Put him on.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, it would be exciting. I just don't know. Like, he's such a wild card. It's one of those, like, the backup quarterback's always the most popular guy. I feel like that's who Strebler is, and it's kind of who Mike White is too. I would be very surprised if, given the talent on this team and his experience in the playoffs, I would be shocked if we went with anyone other than Joe Flacco. If it's not Zach.
Look at this. Look at this point, though, right? So we've been drafting quarterbacks, right? Doing all that, like watching them pro days and all that, right?
Yep.
We got Sam Darnold, right? Geno Smith, right?
Yep.
And now we got this guy, and none of them turned out the way that we wanted. Let's throw somebody in there that we didn't even expect. Look at what he did when he came on. Everybody was having fun.
Yeah, but it's also like you're playing guys that are probably not on NFL rosters right now, and that there's got to be something said for that. You're also going against vanilla defenses. Like, I like what Strebler was in the preseason. If they went with him, I'd be cool with it. I thought they were going to line Strebler up next to Zach Wilson and run a little 2-quarterback action against the Pats like the first time. I would have loved to have seen that. That's really the only way I want to see him in there, I think.
And why can't we give Belichick something to think about, you know? Like, you see that he's not doing well. He's
Mm-hmm.
clearly throwing the ball over like 50 miles over his receiver head.
Oh yeah.
Hold the man and put somebody else in, you know.
Yeah, you
Like,
would have thought
I'm
switching
on
it like halfway through, like, oh, Zach Starks, here's the first drive, and then surprise, it's Mike White, or surprise, it's someone else. It's like, whoa, wait, what a second. Like, we prepared this whole week, and curveball.
Right.
See, I think for the franchise and for the fan base, we needed Zach to win us one of those games. Like, the team's so talented, there's no reason they couldn't have won one of them.
Yes, and I agree. He has talent, but he just needs to just settle down. I think that is thinking too much and not playing.
Well, I think he needs to play with instincts, and I think he needs to understand the playbook, and I think he needs to be able to make the throws in order to do it. And it feels like he's thinking too much, and he's just not seeing open wide receivers. It's just bad quarterback play, and I don't know if you can teach it at this point. Like it feels like it's pretty simple watching like the guys that are just running wide open. The Mims in the middle of the field thing was brutal. Brother, thank you so much for the call.
You're out of here!
You've been ejected from the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Beck.
Hey, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to stay positive. I'm slightly concerned about our Jets. What's going on? Who's starting at quarterback Sunday, and who do you want for starting in 2023?
Well, I remember I wasn't around to remember, the good old days, like the early 2000s Jets. Like I was around, but it just wasn't really into football.
Sure.
So like the closest thing I know to a franchise quarterback is Pennington.
Okay, that's fair.
And
that's probably me as well. I mean, I was here for Testaverde, but Pennington was really like the quarterback I grew up with.
Right. And so like, to me, I'm just it seems like every year it's like it's a never ending, like we're drafting a quarterback. To me, I want to stay positive. I want to see Zach play Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him finish out the year strong, and at least make a case for him going into next year. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No. Well, that's ideally what I think everyone wants. It just.
I don't know. Like I see like the veteran side of like I believe the team is ready to win now, and I get that. But at the same time, you can't. I have a hard time believing that this team's not even going to be even better next year.
Put it this way: is there any situation that you can see where you would not bring in competition to go against Zach next year? I don't know if there's a situation like Zach would have to have like multiple 300-yard games and like multiple multi-touchdown games.
Like last 7 weeks, like he's got to go out there and put in like almost be. I know we don't want to compare him to Josh Allen, but he's got to almost be like a Josh Allen type quarterback for us to 100% say he's the guy next year. Obviously I want to see him do it. I wasn't a huge Zach guy coming out of college, and then just like I did with Darnold, I got emotionally invested, and it's like, dude, I'm done. Like if Zach's not the guy, I'm done.
Dude, my heart hurts because I feel like I'm talking to myself through the phone. I tell myself I'm not going to get emotionally invested. I do it every time. I'm just falling in love with our quarterbacks.
It's like I got, Sam came out. I wasn't a huge Sam guy. And then I was like, oh man, rookie year, he shows me things. I'm like, dude, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here we go. I told my wife, I'm like, look, we're getting a jersey. I don't care what nobody says. And then like a year later, he's not on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go out and get a Zach Wilson jersey. A year later, he might not be on the team. So it's like, I just want to be positive. I want us all as a group to, I know it's hard not to be out on him, but we gotta give him the full benefit of the doubt. Every other quarterback we've brought in gotten at least 2 years. So in my eyes, he's our quarterback until he's no longer our quarterback.
That's fair. I think that's a fair argument. I don't think there's going to be people actively rooting against Zach Wilson. I think they're going to be, I mean, maybe subconsciously some of them are, some of the guys that never wanted him to do well. But I think by and large, everyone wants to see the kid do well, wants to see him do the right things, wants to see the talent come together. But I don't think there's anything that Zach could show me after, I've watched 20 games of Zach play, and I haven't been like really wowed by any performance. His best performance was a 355-yard game against the Patriots with 3 interceptions that cost us the game. And before that, he didn't crack 300 yards. So I don't know what I could see that I haven't seen in the last 20 games. You'd expect to at least see a flash or 2 or 3, over the first 20 weeks of the season. We're watching backup quarterbacks like Colt McCoy have success. And Zach Wilson, the number 2 overall pick, can't do it. I don't know. I think I want to be positive about Zach, but there's nothing I could see from Zach that would prevent me from bringing in competition for Zach next year.
I just want to say before I get out of here.
Yep.
Love you, man. Love what you guys do. You, O'Leary, all the gang. You guys make it bearable for when we lose on Sunday. So.
I appreciate that, brother. We're one big family. Misery loves company. Man. Brother, you've been ejected
You're
from
out
the
of here.
cockpit. Who we got?
Call from.
Frankie.
Hey, what's good, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on, Ryan?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. I'm just trying to stay positive.
One thing I have to ask you, do you have Instagram by any chance?
Do I? I do.
Or Twitter?
I do. I have both.
Did the most clown thing out of all people.
What was that?
What did I do? I was watching the game with my buddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we lose. I said, Zach played horrible. What did I do? Life according to Lisa. I DM'd his mom and she responded in 15 minutes.
Oh, jeez. What did she say?
I said, I love your son. Your son's a beast and all, but he got to step it up to stay a Jet for life. And I want him to. He got to step it up. And she goes, okay, I'll let him know. I'll send you the screenshot if you want it.
That's good. Good for her. I don't want anyone harassing anyone's family, but that's you want to see the kid play well. No one's actively rooting against him. He's just not helping himself.
And he's good. He has all the talent, but it's just he doesn't apply it in the right scenarios, man.
Well, it's like he just doesn't have. He has one setting. It's like a binary arm. It's no throw or 100 miles an hour, and then it's just missing wide open guy. How are you not seeing I guess he doesn't know what NFL open versus college open is, but he has guys running wide open and. Unless the wide receivers are just off their marks when he's trying to look there, which I find hard to believe. I don't know. I just felt like this team did not trust Zach yesterday, and I'm not sure how he gets their confidence back.
What I would do, there's 3 things. 1, Zach apologizes and the team buys back into it.
Yep.
2, this offseason, you go for Jimmy G. Or 3, you go all in, you get Lamar Jackson. But the thing is, if we get Lamar Jackson, we're going to have to get rid of C.J. Mosley. We're going to have to either get rid of him, restructure 3 other people's deals, and go all in at that point. We're going to owe so much money in that cap, it's not even going to be funny.
So I don't think that's true. I think what would happen would be the Jets would sign Lamar to a 7-year contract that would really be a 4-year contract. And then you stretch his signing bonus out. And the cap is going to explode because the new TV contract kicks in either this year or next year. So I do think there's guys that would restructure, guys like CJ, because now we've got a quarterback. Okay, this is our best chance to win a Super Bowl. I think Carl Lawson restructures. I think Corey Davis could restructure. And I think you could save money that way and keep your talent. I'm looking at the Rams. I'm looking at the Bills. They're adding players left and right. There's no reason we can't keep good players on this team.
Yeah.
But realistically, C.J. Mosley is probably here, even if he extends 2 years, maybe. Same thing probably with Carl Lawson.
Yeah.
Lamar would be here, hopefully, for the next 10. That's what you're hoping for. But you're also losing those 3 first-round picks. So, luckily, Joe Douglas has been good via the trade market, via the undrafted free agent market, via the waiver wires, where we might be able to overcome some of those drafting deficits.
True.
So we'll see.
But one
Boom! You're out of here!
He had one more thing. His ass got ejected. Sorry, dude. 33 minutes left. Keeping an eye on this Jimmy Garoppolo character. It seems like he knows where to throw the ball.
Call from.
Kevin.
Kevin, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's going on? First of all, to all my fellow Jet fans, can we stop with the Streva nonsense? Can we stop? He's a fourth-string quarterback that was playing for the Winnipeg Bay Bombers a couple of years ago. He's playing guys that are working at CVS right now. Just stop with the nonsense. Calm down. Settle down. It's stop. Just stop with it. It's so ridiculous. Great.
Yeah.
He played some great preseason games in the fourth quarter. Come on. Calm down, guys. But
we love a preseason hero.
Saying, oh, just ride it out. Ride it out with Zach. Open your eyes. My eyes have been burning the last 20 games I've been watching this guy. He is terrible. He can't hit basic throws. He can't hit screen throws. He can't read defenses. He can't hit wide open wide receivers. You don't just stick with a guy just for the sake of, oh, we'll see how it rides out. He played 20 football games. He's bad. And I am not going to let a quarterback ruin the rest of the 53 other players just because we want to see if it's going to work out. I think you made a good point. He better do something miraculous the next 7 games to show that he belongs to be the starting quarterback on this team, because he's just bad. And I give credit. And Jet fans need to realize this. If there's one bad thing we've learned, it's that obviously Zach Wilson's not the answer. If there's one good thing we've learned, it's that Robert Saleh is showing leadership as a head coach, and that he may be a good head coach that can swallow his pride. That can say, yeah, me and Joe Douglas may have screwed up this pick, but we're willing to work with this team to adjust and make game adjustments, move forward, and get us in the playoffs either way. Because I was expecting the same song and dance from the front office, from the head coach. We're going to ride it out. We're going to see how it goes. Instead, they made a mature decision and say, you know what? We want to make the playoffs more than we want to be successful about, we picked Zach Wilson at number 2. Good for Robert Saleh, and making that took a lot of courage. It took a lot of balls from him to go out and do that. And I think that's also because there's a lot of guys in the locker room backing him to go out there. There was a reason for that 2-hour delay in the press conference. He was making sure that he had the support of the team to go out there and make that decision. So if there's one thing, we may not have the right quarterback, but we have the right head coach. And there's a lot of available options out there in the offseason. Go out, make it happen, have a guy who's a serviceable quarterback who can make those plays. With this defense, with this special teams, outside that punt return, of course, you can have a recipe for success. You don't always need a Pat Mahomes. You don't always need a Justin Herbert. You can get to a championship playing with a serviceable quarterback with a defense like this. So, hey, we got Chicago up next. Let's go out there and go beat them. I don't know who the heck the quarterback's going to be, but I'll tell you right now, with this defense, we can hang with anybody.
Yeah, 100%. I like exactly what you said. I think a serviceable quarterback, I think even average quarterback play gets us past the Patriots both games, and you're sitting at 8-2, and you're sitting at the top of the division right now. And I think there's a lot to be said for having a stable quarterback, knowing where the ball's going to be, because as much as we get wowed by the Zach Wilson escapability, it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily needed. Like if you have a quarterback that can make a quicker decision and throw the ball out, you don't need the escapability because the ball's out already. I think Jimmy Garoppolo can be that guy. I think he knows how to play. I think he knows the offense. There's zero learning curve. Like, I'm sorry. I know some of you guys don't like it.
From
Jordan.
I like it. What's up, Jordan? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's up, Ryan? Big fan of the show. Glad to be on.
Dude, I'm glad you're calling in. How'd you feel yesterday? Who do you think starts versus the Bears, and who's our starter in 2023?
Yesterday was pathetic. I think our starter for 2023 is going to be either Carr or Jimmy. And I think Zach Wilson, he's been historically bad. Do you know who the passing touchdown leader is for the team this year? Because it's not Zach.
It's got to be.
Flacco has 4 touchdowns to Zach's 3, which is insane.
I can't believe I didn't know that. That's miserable. Oh, that's ugly.
Yeah, so I mean, Zach, he was terrible last year, and he's continued to be terrible this year, and it's just, I just don't have much faith, and just like you, like he's going to have to really pull something out of his ass, because he needs to really turn it on for me to be comfortable with him being the guy next year. And I just hope that by next year we have an answer at QB, and that we're not like, there's not people who are like, oh, Zach should be handed the job. No, there needs to either be like competition or someone needs to come in to take the job, because Zach, for me, he's just not the guy.
Well, I don't think Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, I don't think they waste the talent that's on this team now. I think they see the roster. They see they have 3 more years with Breece Hall. They've got 4 years with Sauce. They got 3 years with DJ Reed or whatever it is. They've got some guys that are young and locked up. They're not going to waste it trying to develop Zach. Zach's going to have to go off. And maybe if Zach does go off and he like impresses us, for a good portion of the next 7 weeks, then maybe that's a situation where you bring in a Gardner Minshew and it's those two competing because those two will push each other. I think Gardner Minshew is the better version of Zach Wilson. And if Zach can beat Gardner Minshew, then we have ourselves a pretty decent quarterback. Now, if Zach performs the way I think he's probably going to perform, I'm looking elsewhere. I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm looking at Derek Carr. And then I'm keeping my eye on Lamar Jackson. If it's 3 first-round picks and you think Lamar's the guy, I don't think Lamar is the quarterback that Watson was, so I'm not quite as gung-ho to trade the 3 first-round picks for him. But I think the value is there if you believe he's a franchise guy.
All right, thanks for talking for me. Keep on doing good with the show because I enjoy it every day you do a live stream.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to hear that. I appreciate your call as well. And you have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's jump into this super chat real quick. Then we'll go back to the phone lines. Donald says, check out Kurt Warner's review of Zach from yesterday. Ooh, I will. I'll check that out after the show here. Let's see. Phone number is on the screen. You get 3 minutes to plead your case. After 3 minutes,
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right, you get tossed. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Who is going to start for the Jets this week? Who's going to be a starter in 2023? What I really should say is who's going to end the game for the Jets as quarterback this week? That's probably the more intriguing question.
From
Omar.
Hey, what's good, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, Ryan. How are you?
I'm trying to hang in there. Talk to me. What are you thinking about our quarterback situation? Who starts versus the Bears, or who ends the game versus the Bears, and who is the starter in 2023?
Okay, so I think who starts the game is Zach Wilson. I think who ends the game is Zach Wilson, and I think who's our starter is Zach Wilson.
Ooh, okay. Now, do you believe in him?
Yes, 100%. Some of the guys came out today, like Carl Lawson came out, and he didn't mix words. He flat out came out and said, yeah, we absolutely support Zach, and we're behind him. And that was good to hear. People are calling for, guys like Derek Carr. He has everything over there in Vegas. Near a train wreck. He has a head coach that's supposed to be a wizard, right?
Yeah, but from what it sounds like a lot of Raider fans are pissed off about McDaniels because Carr, if you listen to some of his interviews, he's being told not to go not off script, but not to, like, he has to go to certain reads, and I think they're blaming McDaniels more than they're blaming Carr.
Well, I'll hit you with the big one, Ryan. He has a no trade clause, so he would have to decide if he wants to come to the Jets. So that's just a big. Yeah,
does he really?
Exactly.
I did not know that.
Look these things up, Jets fan, before you call for things that you're uneducated about. I'm not saying you, Ryan. I'm just saying in general.
I take that as a slight. I'm just surprised.
The Jets fans have just been. It's just been out of control like this last 24 hours, and I'm calling you because I want to shed some optimism into all this. Justin Fields, by the way, his career record is 5-16. Zach has 8 wins, so that's another avenue that people keep saying, "Oh, we should have drafted Justin." Sink or swim, we got to stick with Zach.
That's weird. I was going through over the cap where I look at all my contracts. I'm surprised they don't list the no trade clause on the contract details because it is there. I see it, April 13th from NFL.com. No trade clause, 5-year contract. So that means Carr only comes if Carr wants to be here.
Exactly, and I think that with all the weapons over there, why would he come over here and be a part of this train wreck? So,
well, I think he likes playing with Adams, and yeah, I think he wants to play with Adams, and I think he wants to be in Vegas anyway. That's really that's the big piece of the puzzle.
And I love the passion from Derek Carr. So the last thing I'll say is that the coaching staff, I believe, believes in Zach, and they know that there's going to be ups and downs. We've all been saying that we've given him everything. We didn't support Sam. I'm not sure if I was ever all in on Sam. I've been a fan of this organization for more than 30 years. So I think that at the end of the year, make an evaluation, and we say we gave Zach every chance. And if it doesn't work out, then we have options in front of us. But I still think we have to give him the rest of the time. Also, you're not. Nobody else is being benched. Davis Mills isn't being benched. So come on, why is Zach going to be benched? Come on.
Yeah, but I think if you feel you have made the determination that Zach is not the franchise quarterback, and you determine it 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, and you're like, oh, that's not like he is not the guy. Like, why continue to trot him out there? Try to make the playoffs with White. Maybe he walks in free agency, and even if you don't want to hold on to White, he gets you a compensation because maybe he goes somewhere else. Like, I think there's other. It determines when they decide Zach's not the guy. If they think, hey, we've given him enough time, it's just not there, I don't need to see any more, I'm okay with that, pull the plug. Brother, thanks so much for the call. Ejected from the cockpit. Who we got?
Call from
Marquise.
Hey, what's good, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
How you doing, Ryan? How you doing?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. How you feeling after yesterday's loss, and who's the quarterback that ends the game for the Jets this Sunday, and who's the starter in 2023?
I'm going to start like this. I came to your comments a few weeks back, and I said, like, we need to check Zach Wilson throwing. He have all these weapons, and he's messing up, and I ain't never got so much disrespect from the Jets fans in my life. I was trying to be nice. I'm like, yo, Brees Hall doing real good, but the boy ain't throwing the ball. Everybody was killing me and shit, killing me. I'm being respectful, like he's not throwing the ball. And then now that he's doing bad, everybody is agreeing, like the boy is not progressing. I'm not gonna talk trash about him. I think you need to sit him down. Sit him down, let Mike White and let Flacco decide, because like we it's an opportunity to go to playoffs. Don't waste it trying to find out what you got with him. Don't waste that shit.
Yeah, look, I think there's too much talent on this team to let a bad quarterback continue to play bad quarterback. I think you have some options that can play average quarterback at the worst.
Fact. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got too many weapons to be over 99 yards. And you had Mac Jones that has a weaker arm, throw almost 300 yards. Talking about the damn wind. I was mad yesterday. Mad.
Dude, I'm watching Mac Jones. I'm like, I'm not even like impressed with anything he's doing. It's not like it's far. Mac Jones to me feels like Mike White, like where it's like, oh, okay, you can win these games. It's very vanilla. It's I don't think he's as talented as like an Alex Smith or as a Jimmy G, but I think he's like a discount Mac Jones. Right? It's like, he's the blue light special.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly, man. You sit Zach down. Zach needs to watch. He need to work on his character behind the scenes for real, because like the more you keep out there, you see his play is bad, and then you see his characters in question, and you don't want him to be hated. If he's your quarterback, you don't want him to be hated. So his ass down, try to get the season right, and then next year bring in somebody to compete with him. Stop giving it to him, compete with him. Like back in the day, Carson Palmer sat down, came out, was good. Aaron Rodgers sat down, ain't nothing wrong with somebody down to develop them. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Sit his ass down, develop his ass right. If he a guy, develop him. Don't keep him in there and let everybody kill him. Now we see him more and more. Like he's trash. You got Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. These boys can catch the ball now. 2 tight ends. They can catch. Why they didn't get the ball though? I ain't got to have no win out or the line. Come on, the fuck out of here. Come on. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball every game. He might not be doing good, but he throw the ball every game.
Yeah, I want to see like 50 passes a game. Like just air it out. Just let them work out all the bugs.
Jared Goff airing it out. They airing it out. They might not be doing good, but they airing it out. Zach, you can't even make a read.
Yeah.
I don't want to call you trash, but come on now.
Have you seen any of Nania's posts on Twitter with like the plays with receivers running wide open?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. It's so bad.
Come on. That's bad. Come on, bro.
I know. So if you sit him down, who are you starting next year? Like let's say he had. If you're sitting him for next year, who do you want?
I heard you old boy talking about Derek Carr and the trade clause and stuff, but if you trying to win, my first choice would be Derek Carr. Then if you got enough money for Lamar, get Lamar, but you have to change the offense though, cause you still got mad weapons. Lamar is exciting, but he don't throw the ball good. If he don't be consistent, like
Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared about that. Like, I want excitement, but I want to win as well.
Yeah, Lamar scares me because I think you can win. I think you'll be in the playoffs as long as he's healthy. I question whether he can make the big throw when it needs to be made, and I question how long his play style can be viable and how much money you're going to have to give him. Because I can understand him saying, look, I'm looking at Deshaun Watson, dude's got 24 cases against him, and like I've been squeaky clean, I've been an MVP, like I deserve that much money plus $1. Like at least I get it. It makes sense, but like it's scary as hell to pay him that much money. That's a lot of money.
I swear to God, he deserves every cent, but like as far as winning, I want to win. Like I don't want no excitement. I want to win. Like we haven't won in a long time, man. I want to win. So fuck all that. He's scrambling every game. I want somebody who throw the ball, manage the game, and we win. Like our defense is balling out.
So let's say this.
Like I'm scared. Huh?
So talk to me. Let's say Tom Brady says, "Hey, you guys haven't beaten the Patriots in 14 attempts. You guys haven't won a Super Bowl in over 50 years. You guys are loaded with talent. I have a year left in me. Let's take Belichick down together. Let's get this Super Bowl. Let's break the silverback gorilla off your back, and let's do this for 1 year. Zach sits behind me. He'll learn, and then we'll give it another go in 2024 with maybe a little bit of competition. You doing it?"
I've been a Jets fan since I'm also catching punts, man. I'll be hurt to say I want to do that because Tom Brady, the evil guy, but that's the smartest thing you fucking do. I swear to God. I swear, like I'm Jets fan.
Dude, it's a weird. It's such a. I know Jet fans are gonna hate me for it, but it's such an interesting conversation because it's like as crazy as it sounds. It's not totally bonkers. It's just like super frustrating. It's frustrating.
You have a Hall of Fame game manager.
I know, but if you have a Hall of Fame game manager with this defense, you could probably win a Super Bowl.
Come on now.
Yeah, and there's something there is something that would warm my heart knowing Patriot fans had to watch Tom Brady win a Super Bowl with the hated Jets. Like that would.
I swear to God.
Oh, it would just like it'd be a little like.
Yeah.
It would feel good.
Like I said, I respect God.
Boom! You're out of here.
I think he was complimenting me there. Love it. That was a good call. It's a good call. Lots of passion in that one. What does Matt say? Matt says, "Why not try Strevler?" You could try Strevler. I don't think it's the right move. I think there's a reason he's on the practice squad. Who we got?
From
Gary.
Gary, what's up, dude? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Dude, I'm trying to hang in there.
The show, love your show.
Oh, thank you. Much appreciated.
You know, I'm going to tell you, I have been a Jets season ticket holder for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently left the New York City area. I live in upstate New York now. And this sounds familiar. I've heard this throughout the late 90s into the 2000s. And I don't want the kid to get into the game Sunday and the first pass that he misses, we're going to blow him.
Oh, it's going to happen. Dude, it sucks. It sucks. It's going to happen. The second he throws an incompletion, it's going to happen. The Boo Birds are going to be out. The Jet fans are out for blood right now.
They are. And, you know, I'm really disappointed with the week off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm disappointed in Zach, obviously. But, you know something? They could have came up with a better game plan.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they ran it up the middle a million times. You know, can you get a little creative? You know, I know it's a windy day, but...
You know what this felt like to me? And I don't know if you watched the game or remember the game. There was a game in the playoffs where the Titans were driving, and I think it was for them to go to the Super Bowl, and they were afraid of Ryan Tannehill. And they clearly... Or no, was it that game or was it Blake Bortles? It might have been Blake Bortles. I could be confusing the two. But there was a situation where the offense did not look at their quarterback and say, okay, go win us that game. You have the ball, go drive down the field. It was like, no, we clearly were trying to like win in spite of him. And that's what I saw from yesterday. Brutal.
It reminds me of, and I kind of agreed with you before I heard what you said. I thought you were going to say the playoff game with the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
Just running the ball up the middle, fall in the knee, take a knee, fall in the middle. I mean, it's just, you know, they have to get, you know, hey, the kid has to come along. I didn't like the way he reacted. But you know something, we have to support him. If we don't support him and don't put a good game plan around him, he's not going to succeed. And we're all in.
Yeah.
I think we're all in for now, at least. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year you kind of just have to see what you have in him. Like, I don't think there's any quarterback on this roster that has the upside that Zach has, even though he has an astronomically low floor right now. I just think you need to have some accountability. So if they bench him for a game or whatever,
of course.
you know, you figure it out and you do it. You know, I don't know. It's just hopefully he can iron it out. I think there's going to be a lot of noise, and I don't know if he's going to be able to tune out the New York media, the social media. He's just going to get hounded. He better stay off his phone and out of the newspaper.
Yeah, I think that was his response. I'll be honest. That was kind of, I think he's a young kid. He doesn't get it. And he's like, yep, that's it, move on. And
Yeah, I think I do.
Kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't think he meant to do it that way. I purposely do it that way.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. I don't think he intentionally meant for that to be bad or taken the wrong way. I think it was a self-awareness issue more than it was a malicious issue. And I think him not being self-aware, like he's not reading the room. Like the rest of the guys are clearly pissed. Like he is the issue with the team. He has been all season long. So like I think that's where I fall on it. Like I don't think Zach's a bad kid. I do think there's like, you know, do you want to call him a little spoiled? And he's puffing his chest out a little bit. He was big dog on campus at BYU. He's the number 2 overall pick. He's the good-looking kid drafted by the New York Jets. He's going to be the franchise savior. He's the most talented kid in the, you know, our franchise history playing at the quarterback position as far as like physical gifts go.
Yeah.
I think we inflated his ego a lot, and you know, it's all coming crashing down. And maybe that's why we've had success with veterans here as opposed to young quarterbacks. Like maybe the formula is trading from like the 20s up to go get a quarterback because you have an established team. So you're not drafting a good quarterback to a bad team. And then you also have an established culture in place. I don't know. I don't know where we failed, Zach.
Right.
Like I feel like we've given him the talent. I feel like we've given him the coaching. Like clearly the coaching is good. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're on point. I just wish they gave him a bit more for this week. And I don't know, you know, I know that, you know, I wish Elijah Moore gets involved more, maybe a double reverse or something, you know, something a little more creative. You know, I know the Patriots are ready for everything, but one of those 3-3 games, I would have loved the team to take a shot towards the end zone or something unique, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't take up coaching, but I do want best. You know, I do want the Jets to win, and I do hope you know, we give them a chance to hopefully be successful.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I want to see something good. I want to see some good quarterback play the tail end of this year, brother. Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Who we got? Who's up? We got like 9 minutes left.
Call from
Bruno.
Hey, what's good, dude? Welcome to the cockpit. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, sorry. I had a mic. Oh, well. Sorry, dude. Gotta listen.
Call from
Max from Jersey.
Hey, what's up, dude? Sadness. He probably hung up as soon as he heard me, like, almost be on the call with someone. That's all good. Who we got?
from
Hunter.
Hey, what's up, Hunter? Welcome to the cockpit.
Oh, what's up, Brian? I am feeling terrible right now about Zach Wilson.
Well, talk to me. What do you want to see? Like, who do you think ends the game at quarterback for the Jets this Sunday? And who is the starter in 2023?
2023, it's got to be Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to be. I don't care what we have to give up for him. He knows the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I saw tonight, he can hit Deebo Samuel wide open in the flat. Don't know why Zach Wilson can't hit Barrios or Mims or any of our weapons. Jimmy G would thrive in this offense. And, I mean, we have arguably as good of weapons as the Niners. Like, he would have success.
Yeah, I would I would say our team versus the Niners would be a very competitive game outside of quarterback. Like, they clearly have us beat on the quarterback side of things. But, like, if you stack up the positions across the board, tight end, they beat us with Kittle. You could argue Brees versus CMC, I think. CMC has the longer track record of everything, but he's had injury history at this point. And you look at the defenses, I mean, Bose is really good, and the defense is really good, but the Jets have a really good defense of their own. So, like, I feel like you pluck him off the NFC, you send him over here, and it's like, we're 49ers East.
Yep, and that's all we need to be. And with Zach, what's frustrating is everybody backs up keeping Zach because of the hope, because of his talent. But his character, what he's shown, that's not a franchise quarterback, especially not in New York. No way in New York. Like, I called during the Denver week, real hopeful, saying, hopefully the curse is broken. I bought a Wilson jersey. The last jersey I got was a Sanchez jersey. And it looks like that curse is still going strong. Almost went to Goodwill with that jersey today. I'm so frustrated with him. I mean,
dude,
it's sickening, but
it's bad, right? Like, I don't understand how it's kind of fallen apart so much. And I hope he has something there. It's just the personality. I think he has the personality to do well in New York. I think he doesn't know how to handle criticism because he won at BYU. I feel like he's always probably been the kid that's, gotten what he's wanted. And I think this is one of the biggest times he's ever had to go through trials and tribulations. And he's just failing at it. And I want to reiterate, I don't think he was malicious in his comments yesterday. I think he's just not self-aware. And I think there's a clear difference there. Like, if you talk to me 10 years ago, I'm sure I would say something stupid and like not even intentionally mean it, but I'm sure I would do something like that. So I don't want to like rag on the guy too much, but his quarterback play sucks.
Yeah. And I think one thing that might be going into it that I thought about is Coach Saleh has held everybody else accountable. Maybe Zach Wilson is frustrated because he, for his first time in his career, is being held accountable and doesn't know how to deal with it. Which goes back to another character issue. It's just Saleh and the team can't publicly be wrong about quarterback if this is their guy. They have to stick with the script and keep saying, he's our guy, we're behind him. But if Mike White's able to complete a slant and see Mims wide open down the field, right down the middle, easy, 6 points, you've got to make the switch. You owe it to like they were saying, you owe it to the defense. You owe it to your weapons, and most of all, you owe it to us because we've been struggling so long watching terrible football.
Yeah, get us a playoff win.
This year, winning games.
Not a playoff win. Just get us into the playoffs. I just want to be like in the dance. Yeah. I don't have to go dance with any girls. It's fine. I'll look in from the side. I'll be like, oh look, I got in. It's cool. I'll see myself out. I'll be back next year.
Yeah, and to start the season, I was on board with you saying if only we can be, on the graphic at the end of the year in the hunt.
Yep.
And then we give up our chance to be the number 1 seed in our division, possibly if the Chargers played a little better, number 1 seed. So it's like my expectation has changed because I've seen how good this team is. And knowing that the weak link is him, I'm done. As a fan, I'm done sticking up for these young quarterbacks that, I can say, oh, he's got the talent or the potential to be so good when we can go and get somebody that's, like you say, middle of the pack. And we're going, like, we're AFC champion contenders every year. Like, I'm not saying we're going to win a Super Bowl, but we are a team that everybody will look at preseason no matter what and say, they are solid all the way through. They have a shot.
Yep. I 100% agree, brother. Thank you so much for the call.
That's it.
You
You're
have
out of
been
here.
ejected from the cockpit. All right. So we've got 4 minutes left. I see Shane came in with a super chat here. I know everyone is out on him, but at this point, I'll even take a shot at Jordan Love next year. This is the second comment we've had about Jordan Love tonight. And so I do my due diligence. Let me just see what his contract looks like. So I was talking about Jordan Love when Zach initially got hurt in the preseason. I said Jordan Love. I said Jimmy G. Did I say someone else? I thought I had 3. Jimmy G. I have no idea who that other quarterback would have been. Either way. So, Jordan Love, 24 years old, 6'4", 225 pounds. He is in his third season. After this season, they're going to have to decide on his fifth-year option. He does have a year under contract next year. It would be $2.3 million. Perhaps there's a situation where you get Jordan Love and it's the LaFleur brother connection that gets it all done. The Saleh best man over in Green Bay comes over here or sends his backup quarterback over here. Look, it's possible. I have not watched enough Jordan Love to make an educated decision on him, but when I have seen him, I haven't been thrilled. And for me, that's not the quarterback. Like, that's a quarterback trade you make at like the trade deadline this year to push Zach Wilson. I don't think that's a move I make next year. Like, I want someone more proven than Jordan Love. Like, I might even consider going Tannehill before I go Jordan Love, or Jameis Winston before I go Jordan Love. And like, I really don't want either one of them. I'm not out on Love, but I'm not. I don't think this team is. I think this team's too good to have Love as the option at quarterback. That may be stupid to say, but I think it makes sense on my side of things. All right. That was a solid call-in show. Really good. You guys had some great points. Had some great questions throughout the beginning portion of this and throughout the whole night. Guys making some great points. It sounds like the Jet fan base is very upset, and we're all feeling very similar. We saw the live stream yesterday. We saw the reactions online. I mean, the memes and the posts on Facebook pages and forums and Twitter and Instagram and everything just blowing up. Jets fans are upset. Guys, we're going to go through this together. Misery loves company. I appreciate you hanging out and flying with me. I'll be here tomorrow with our buddies Matt O'Leary and Green Bean. We're going to have Master at Work, the Patriots YouTuber, on for like the first 5 minutes. He's going to give us a little bit of a tongue lashing. I made the promise. I was going to rip him if we won, but we're going to have to take our lumps tomorrow. So it'll be fun. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. It's been a lot of fun. This is Jets Talk, signing off. Jay.